Hello everyone, welcome to the Sideline Sedo YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at the first week of fixtures in the Premier League and recapping. I'm going to look at my predictions from last week and see how I fared. Quite honestly, if I did good, if I did bad, what I got right, who I predicted to score, who I predicted to win, who I predicted to lose, etc, etc, etc. We look at the biggest storylines, the biggest narratives, and the biggest results from the weekend and see where the Premier League stands at the moment. As always, please like, subscribe, share, comment, do what you will to help grow the channel. Every single contribution, every single interaction from you guys is helpful and motivates me to want to make more videos. So yeah, let's get into it. Crystal Palace versus Arsenal. Opening game of the season, Vieira versus Arteta. How did it fare? Well, ended 2-0 to Arsenal, but honestly, watching the game, there was moments where Crystal Palace looked threatening. It felt like at any moment Crystal Palace could counterattack and score on the counter. But thankfully for Arsenal, new recruit Zinchenko looped in a header into a busy area where Martinelli managed to squeeze it into the goal. And then we saw Jesus look lively. A second half of some missed opportunities, some missed chances. We saw Bukayo Saka swinging a cross that ended up bouncing off of Marquez's head and ultimately giving Arsenal the win. I don't think too much concern is needed for Crystal Palace. I think they played a good game, but quite frankly, we're outclassed by an Arsenal side that is looking to be at an increasingly higher pedigree each season. Will this be the season where they could get Champions League football again at the Emirates? Who knows? Fulham versus Liverpool. So not only did I get the Crystal Palace Arsenal scoreline wrong. Yes, Arsenal won 2-0. They won by 2 goals. It wasn't a 3-1 result like I predicted though. Fulham and Liverpool also is wrong. Yes, I predicted a 2-1 win for Liverpool at Craven Cottage, but quite frankly, Liverpool just wasn't good enough. We got outperformed by a Fulham midfield that had Joao Palhinha at the linchpin and looked all the worth of the 18 million transfer fee that he was paid for. Saw a performance from Liverpool in the first half that was highly questionable. We got outpressed. We saw Mitrovic score a header over Trent to make it 1-0. And then we saw Darwin score a goal via, I guess, a lucky deflection off of the defender back into him, a back heel, which was really pretty. But then Mitrovic does Van Dijk in, absolutely schools him. I don't see that often, so kind of sucks, but he deserved it. He converted the penalty and scored. And then a funky long ball into Darwin Núñez ended up seeing Salah score a tap-in basically. It was a weird assist, but Darwin got a goal and an assist. Salah scored again on opening day, taking his tally of opening day goals up to 8. So some positives to take away from the game. Ultimately, Fulham look like they want to stay in the Prem this season. Will they be able to convert that solid first day performance into more consecutive fixtures of quality? We shall see. I don't know. But I think Liverpool will be disappointed with the overall performance, but glad that they got a point in the end because, quite frankly, we didn't deserve to win that game. And Fulham will be happy that despite the fact that Liverpool was able to score twice, they still secured a point, and it's going to be a valuable point going forward because they got their Liverpool game at home away, and now they could look forward to the other fixtures coming up. Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. So I predicted an Aston Villa win 1-0. Didn't happen. Yes, it didn't happen. Shocker. But Aston Villa, they looked off the pace, man. Bournemouth looked like they really were trying to get a win there. The fans were really committed to it. The players, they were into it. We saw a goal within the second minute from Jefferson Lerma off a set piece. The corner came in, bounced down, bounced across goal to Jefferson Lerma, who just buried it with his left. Kiefer Moore, he scored a goal, a header, to make it 2-0. And I watched a bit of that game. I don't know, I just wasn't wholly impressed by Villa, but I wasn't necessarily taken aback. I don't think they're in a panic situation. I do think Bournemouth will be happy. Brian Fredericks didn't even play. We saw Marcus Tavernier play. He looked decently impressive for a championship midfielder making a jump up to the Premier League. But I do think Aston Villa needs some work. I think Boubacar Kamara and Diego Carlos are going to need a little bit more time to settle in. But ultimately, credit to Bournemouth, they proved me wrong. Leeds versus Wolves. Leeds versus Wolves, I predicted to end 1-1. And Brendan Aronson proved me wrong. Leeds won 2-1 at Ellen Road. It was an impressive victory, I'd say. I watched a good chunk of this game, and during it, I was just impressed by the relentlessness of Leeds. They still have that kind of Bielsa fighting spirit, it seems, even though he's been sacked and now they're under Jesse Marsch. They play with a high intensity. They have some young players who can do some really impressive things. And I think they have a really interesting squad bubbling up there. Wolves looked impressive at various points. There was a piece of skill from Pedro Neto that was absolutely filthy to send 2 Leeds defenders away. Podence scored a scruffy goal that I wouldn't necessarily constitute as by any means a great or clean goal, but he scored it. And then we saw a near post effort from Rodrigo bounce in. It was one of those impossible angle shots where you just never know how it's going to end up in the back of the goal, but it seems to just end up in it. Leeds as a squad seem to be going in a positive direction post Calvin Phillips and Rafinha, and this is a good result for them to build and ultimately just continue to cultivate a culture at their club of being a high intensity, high pressing, attacking side, and I think they can end up safe this season. Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest. I said this game was going to end up 3-2, and it didn't. Nottingham Forest didn't even score. Newcastle ended up winning 2-0. Saw Cher's wonderful replica of a goal he scored like 5 or 6 years ago. Callum Wilson had a solid chip past the goalie to make it 2-0, and that's all I really have to say about this game. I mean, what more can be said about, now the richest club in the world facing off against the newly promoted Nottingham Forest? Not a lot. So these kind of results are necessary. I guess for Newcastle United, it's more of a matter of consistency. Will they have this squad depth and quality in squad depth to be able to string on consistent results like this against mid-table to lower mid-table teams and then perform well against the big boys? Only game I got right all weekend was Tottenham versus Southampton. Yes, Tottenham v Southampton indeed did finish 4-1, and funnily enough, the sole goal scorer for Southampton was, you guessed it, James Ward-Prowse, exactly as I predicted. It wasn't a free kick, but almost there, nearly there. 1 out of 6 so far, or 7, I don't know. This was a game that proved the quality that Tottenham possesses and just how much they've strengthened in the offseason and in January as well. Just under Antonio Conte, Tottenham has really revitalized and rebranded themselves as a press-resistant, forceful team that, they pass the ball around really well. They got some great link-up play, but also they're very industrious. They'll win the ball off you. They'll press back. They'll do what they need to do to win the ball and to win games. And, we saw goals from Sessegnon after James Ward-Prowse's opener. We saw a goal from Kulusevski. We saw a goal from, an own goal from Sulisu. I think Tottenham impressed. They had a different goal scorer for every goal. They played a really attractive game. Eric Dyer scored a real low effort header that just bounced past the goalie. It was honestly very impressive. I think Emerson Royale and Kulusevski deserved a lot of plaudits after yesterday's game. And I think that Tottenham is one of those sides that continues to prove as to why they deserve to be in the top four. And I think they're going to be a threat all season, quite frankly. Everton beat Chelsea. For this game, I predicted a 3-0 victory at Goodison Park for Chelsea. While there was a victory, it wasn't quite the route I anticipated. Everton, they have bigger issues than just this loss. Ben Godfrey went down with what seemed to be some sort of leg injury, and we also saw Yerry Mina pick up some sort of knock, which isn't good for a team in Everton that already has issues with depth and quality of depth. They don't have a ton of center backs that they can rely on that are all that great, and somebody like Ben Godfrey, who is your center back who you guys want to develop, seeing him get injured just isn't something that you ever want to see as an Everton supporter. So that is rough for them, for sure. Jorginho slotted in a penalty. It was a very boring Tuchel ball performance. Honestly, I watched about 15-20 minutes of it, and then I fell asleep until about the end of the game. And what more is there to say than a 1-0 win for Chelsea away at Everton via Jorginho's penalty, other than the fact that this is an anomaly, so to speak, because whenever Chelsea does travel to the Goodison Park, they don't often pull off a win in recent history. But they're at a point now, where they got this win, they got a decent result to build forward towards the next few games in the season and just the season overall. So Chelsea, I think, will be really glad. Everton will be really concerned for the future, more so than they will be of this single result. This season, losing somebody like Ben Godfrey for an extended period of time could really be the difference between staying up and relegation. Leicester versus Brentford. I predicted this game to finish 2-1 for Leicester, but luckily for Brentford, it finished 2-2. I think Brentford showed some really good resilience. I think Thomas Frank's side was really capable against the press of Leicester at times. And honestly, even though they got a scruffy goal from Ivan Toney and a worldie, I'd say, from Johnny Da Silva off the bench, I think that Leicester is going to be quite upset with themselves. After that Dewsbury Hall stunner within the first couple minutes of the second half, I think they probably felt that they've done enough. It was a really quality goal, but I think they'll be kicking themselves that they didn't go away with all 3 points. As scrappy as Brentford is, they're a side that every team should want to try to beat, right? Like, if you're, I'd say, in the bottom half of the table, every team should try to at least beat you, because you're just not of that quality. But Brentford is a team that, even though they don't have that same quality or that same depth of quality, they're really well drilled. They're really committed. They're really passionate, and we saw that at the King Power. I don't personally think that Brendan Rodgers is somebody who's ultimately cut out for the highest pressure in the Premier League, and I think that is the pressure that comes when results don't go your way, and whatever goal the fans and you as a team set at the beginning of the season starts to slip away from you. Fingers start to get pointed, questions start to get asked, and changes are demanded. Manchester United versus Brighton. I have this game finishing 1-1, and I don't know if it says more about me or Man United that this result was inaccurately predicted. I guess I just thought that even though Man United, they haven't changed a lot, that's given. I hope, at least for their sake, that it wouldn't be a loss that they started this new Ten Hag regime under, I guess. But unfortunately for them, it was a loss, not really drastically changed. There are certain moments where, okay, Christian Eriksen's dropping in, playing as a 6, that was cool. But besides that, it was quite frankly just a little boring for Man United. And just to prove to you how boring it is, here are some pictures of Pascal Gross scoring a brace against Man United at Old Trafford. he doesn't look happy. Why is that? Well, maybe because 30% of his goals have came against Manchester United in the Premier League. Yeah, so in the Prem, 30% of his goals have came from playing against Manchester United. He didn't look happy, and I wouldn't be either. Imagine that. He's not a prolific goal scorer. He's a midfielder for Brighton. For Man United, though, I don't know. I really don't know what to say. We'll see how they perform next week. They're not fully a lost cause, but I would have been in protest if I was a Manchester United fan way long ago. I mean, I know a lot of them have been, and a lot of them are very critical of the owners, the Glazers and all, but honestly, I think it's a deeper issue than that. I think there's just like too much going on, too many eyeballs, too many chefs in the kitchen, whatever you want to call it. It's something's amok at Man United, and they really just need to ultimately figure out a way to completely rehabilitate the image and the standing of the club, because quite frankly, nobody's going to want to join them. I mean, now they're trying to get Adrian Rabiot and Marko Arnautovic. Come on. Those are just such terrible panic buys. It smells like sewage. It's just god awful. And Man United fans aren't happy. You don't want a midfielder like Adrian Rabiot, or past it Stoke striker like Marko Arnautovic. Neither of these guys are what Manchester United are aspiring to get back to. They're what they're trying to run away from. But it seems like Ten Hag and the Red Devils are going to embrace this bad boy style of football. And I mean, this might be the death of McFred, who looked absolutely rubbish in a double pivot. But if I'm being quite honest with you, Fred and Rabiot, or McTominay and Rabiot double pivot, does that sound much better? And last but not least, West Ham versus Manchester City. Yes, this game I had finishing 3-1 to Man City. Man City won by a 2-goal cushion, but it was 2-0 win, not 3-1, 2-0. So credit to him. More importantly, credit to Erling Haaland, who I think in many ways proved a lot of people wrong, maybe myself included to some degree. I thought he'd hit the ground running, but I do still think that overall injury issues here and there are his biggest concern. It never was, will he suddenly stop scoring goals? Because why would he? He's just that good that he's not going to stop scoring goals for as long as he plays for City. If you have him fit in a shirt, he'll probably score a goal. I think that's just a given at this point, honestly. It was an impressive game by City. First half, they absolutely just were greedy with the ball. They were really pressing, winning every, loose ball, and just focusing on retaining possession. And, that is really their methodology and what gets them across the line most games, and it's exactly what got them across the line in this game. Unfortunately for West Ham, Lucas Fabianski went down with an injury after a sudden sort of collision with a West Ham player. It seemed like some sort of tightness in his muscle or some sort of bruise. He just couldn't continue, it seemed, though, so he had to be subbed out for Alphonso Areola, who did accidentally give away a penalty and then failed to save it against Erling Haaland, but admittedly, that was just both of the Haaland goals. The build-up to the penalty was fantastic. Erling Haaland was already running into that pocket of space well before Gundogan even played the pass. It was really masterful. He was obviously going to score or put a chance on target at least when he was running through into that space. Unfortunately for Alphonso Areola, he wasn't quick enough, caught him by the leg, gave away a penalty, got converted to the bottom left corner, easy as you like. And then the second goal, I think, was a lot more impressive. He made this incredible run in behind the line. He was kind of waiting for just before De Bruyne would make the pass, and then he booked it as soon as he made it, got onto the ball, slotted it down, made it 2-0 past Alfonso Areola. I think that game was just a testament to Man City's style of play, I suppose. They have this kind of way of retaining the ball, continuing to hold on to it, to continuously generate chances, and a lot of their players are just purely made for that kind of play. De Bruyne, Gundogan, Rodri, Cancelo, they all looked really solid to me.
Hello everyone, sorry for the lack of video in this section, but unfortunately my camera stopped recording, so it cut off what I was saying about City. Basically I just continue to praise them. I said that West Ham's not necessarily in a state of panic either. I think they played alright, but just got kind of unlucky. And yeah, if you guys enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. Show it to anybody you know that you think might like the content. And I'll have my Match Week 2 predictions out before Match Week 2 starts. So before the 7:30 a.m. game or the midday game over in the UK. On Saturday, I will have my Match Week 2 predictions uploaded and processed and just ready for you guys to watch. So if you guys enjoy the content, please subscribe, share, and comment. And I will see you in a couple days with some more content. So stay fly, and as always, stay gold.